Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at UFC Fight Night Rio de Janeiro, Charles Oliveira versus Mateus Gamrot. You got to bear with me here, guys, okay? Because there's some stinky poo fights on this card. Stinky poo fights. And we're going to have to wade our way through them to get to the good ones. There's a couple, there's sprinkled about, but we'll get to them. We'll get to them. I'll let you know when there's a good fight, okay? First up, we've got Simon Oliveira versus Luan Lacerda. Look, this is a fight to stay in the UFC. Simon Oliveira is on a 3-fight skid. Luan Lacerda is on a 2-fight skid. Both guys not really UFC caliber, in my opinion. We're pitting them against each other to see who can stay, I think, anyway. I want to go with Simon Oliveira over Luan Lacerda, even though Lacerda is the favourite, I do believe, at this moment in time. But here's the deal. I think Oliveira's had a better quality of opponents, even though he's lost to them. I feel like he's had a better quality of opponents, and there's experience to be gained there. As well as that, been in the UFC longer, right? And I feel like Luan Lacerda is the kind of guy that would be beaten by Oliveira outside of the UFC, right? Like one of those guys that's just below UFC level, just like Simon Oliveira. Not quite ready for the UFC, not quite UFC caliber, but, you know, hanging around near the bottom, whereas Luan Lacerda is probably a guy that wouldn't make it past Contender Series. I say that, I don't even know if he did make it past Contender Series. You should probably check that, shouldn't we, before I just say something so flippant. No, man, of course he didn't get... I knew he wasn't, because I would have remembered them. I would have remembered them from Contender Series. Why would I ever doubt myself like that? I'm never doubting myself again. I'm going with Simon Oliveira, based on experience. We're going to go with the decision, because it's men's bantamweight, and these lighter guys don't often get finishes. So yeah, we're going to go with Simon Oliveira by submission, by decision. Simon Oliveira by decision. Next up, we've got Julia Polastri versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Sure, Kowalkiewicz. We're going to be going with Julia Polastri anyway. I think better all round, to be honest with you. I like a decision win. This is women's strawweight, so it's likely going to be a decision. But I'm liking Polastri by decision. I think she's just better than Carolina, to be honest with you, like in most positions. And I think that she's going to control the fight quite handily, and there's not going to be much adversity. And she's probably going to win all 3 rounds. I think it's going to be a unanimous decision, probably all 3 rounds for Polastri. So yeah, we're going to go with Julia Polastri over Carolina, whose name I can't pronounce anyway, so I'm not even going to try. On to the next one, which is a good one. This is potentially a really good fight, a really fast fight as well, hopefully, but we'll wait and see. Walter Walker versus Mohammed Usman. What a fight. What a fight. Tough one to call. I'm going with Walter Walker. Okay? I'm gonna do the equation for you right now. MMA maths right here, right now for you. By Not So Lethal. Walter Walker is on a 3-fight win streak, all by finish, all by heel hook submission. Mo Usman, I don't rate very highly anyway. I think his success outside of the UFC is likely due to PEDs, and his moderate mid-levelness in the UFC is based on him being old and not very good. I'm going to pick Walter Walker. He's younger, better opponents. He's faced better opponents than Mo Usman, and he's beaten better opponents than Mo Usman's faced. I think he probably gets another heel hook if he wants a heel hook. I'm thinking a heel hook, to be honest with you. I know Mo Usman can grapple. I know Mo Usman can wrestle. I just think Walter Walker just snatches it up so quickly that Usman don't get a chance to react to it. And the final thing to add to this equation, which really seals the deal for Walter Walker, is those Looney Tune genetics. You know, both kind of nepo babies, kind of. Walter's kind of making a name for himself now, outside of Johnny, who was obviously here first in the UFC. And, you know, Mo Usman's the older brother of Kamaru Usman, I do believe. I think he's the older brother of Kamaru Usman, but he's coming in later off the name Usman. You know how it is. So both kind of nepo babies, but Walter Walker definitely seeming to be the one that can step out of his predecessor's shadow and kind of make a name for himself. You know, kind of carry the torch, if you will. Whereas a Mo Usman, I don't think you'll ever see the heights that Kamaru reached, you know? I don't think it's ever going to happen. So yeah, we're going to go Walter Walker, based on Looney Tune genetics. So I'm going to just grab the fight for you right now. Based on Looney Tune genetics, Walter Walker's going to win. What's going to happen is the fight's going to start and Walter Walker's going to remain in place. He's not going to move. He's going to be stood on his side of the cage, and then his arms are just going to go and stretch, and stretch out. And they're going to reach right across and just ankle pick Mo Usman and drag him across the cage. Drag him across the cage, and then once he's close enough, he's going to jump on there and just snatch up a leg using his really stretchy arms. He's going to wrap his arms around him like an anaconda. But yeah, so I'm going Walter Walker by submission over Mohammed Usman. Quite confidently, I'm going with Walter Walker by submission. Next up, we've got Lucas Rochka versus Stuart Nicol. I would imagine that Rochka is probably the favourite, but I'm going to go with Stuart Nicol. I'm liking the Aussies at the minute. I'm liking the Aussie fighting style. I'm liking everything that's coming out of Aussie land. We've got some good gyms down there. We've got some good training methods. And we've got some good anti-grappling coming out of there as well. So I'm going to go with Stuart Nicol. Men's flyweight, probably going to be a decision. So I'm going to go Stuart Nicol by decision. Next up, Arina Alekskiva versus Beatriz Mesquita. See, it's a women's bantamweight fight, so you want to say, oh, it's going to end in a decision. But Mesquita is very much a submission specialist, so I could see this being very easily being Beatrix Mesquita by submission over Alekskiva. Yeah, I'm going to go with Beatriz Mesquita. And I said Beatrix again. Beatriz Mesquita. I think by submission. I think fairly handily. She seems to be doing really well submission-wise. Just getting in there, getting the submission. So yeah, we're going to go with Beatriz Mesquita to kind of run away with this fight and get the submission. A decent fight, potentially. This is one of those fights where it's like, ooh. So yeah, so this could be a good fight. There's potential for a good fight. I'm not going to promise you. This is a maybe fight, okay? But we'll go with Mesquita by submission. Next up, we've got Vitor Petrino versus Thomas Peterson. Now, I'm going with Thomas Peterson, not just because he's a fat guy, okay? We know the blob mentality of heavyweight in the UFC. Not just because of that. It's because Petrino lost to Anthony Smith, and you can't be losing to Anthony Smith at any point in your career. It's unacceptable to have lost to Anthony Smith. So we're going to go with Thomas Peterson. I don't know, knockout, I guess. It's heavyweight, so maybe he thumps him. Maybe it's a decision. I will say knockout because, you can't lose to Anthony Smith and then be taken seriously in your career ever again. I'm sorry, it just can't happen. I'm sorry, Vitor Petrino. It just be like that. Thomas Peterson's probably going to knock you out. Thomas Peterson by knockout. Next up, Rafael Filho versus Clayton Carpenter. I'm going to go with Filho. I have a hard time picking Americans over Brazilians, and I've just done that, and I don't feel like they compare really. I feel like a lot of the time the Jits kind of negates the grappling a little bit, and they're tough guys. They're tooth and nail. They'll scrap it out. Filho versus Clayton Carpenter. More experience on Filho's side. He's going to be a crafty vet. He's going to pull out a crafty vet move. He's gonna. I think it's going to be a decision. I think it's going to be a flyweight decision. For Filho over Clayton Carpenter. I think it could even be a split decision. I think it's going to go to a decision. It's going to be close. It's going to be a back and forth fight. It's not going to be boring. Hopefully, it's not going to be boring. I can see this being a decent little back and forth. It won't set the world on fire, but it'll be entertaining. So yeah, we're going to go with Rafael Filho by decision. Next up, Lucas Almeida versus Michael Aswell. We're going with Lucas Almeida. Again, I have a tough time picking Americans over Brazilians a lot of the time. I just gym-wise, I feel like, base-wise, I suppose, I just feel like a lot of the Brazilians, even though the crowds are terrible, the fighters are just a smidgen better than the Americans, unless we're coming like top of the board. No, you know what? Yeah, even top of the board. Yeah, I think Americans are kind of outdone by Brazilians quite a bit if we're going on if we're doing the loose MMA maths on it. I'm sorry, Americans. I'm sorry to say it. You all wrestle, and it's an oversaturation. We don't know who's actually, the wrestling don't work as well. I'm sorry. Yeah, I do feel it's going to go to another decision. You know what? Against my better judgment, I'm gonna go with Aswell. I'm gonna go with Aswell by decision. Uh, Fuck it, why not? We'll go with Michael Aswell by decision. Maybe I'm just being too harsh on the Americans. He's not too bad. He's not too bad. And Almeida's on like a 2-fight losing streak at the minute. Then again, isn't Aswell coming off of a loss? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're going with Aswell to set the world on fire with his grappling, with his wrestling. Anyway, Ricardo Ramos versus Offley. Can Offley. We're going with Ricardo Ramos. I think just an all-round better fighter. Um, yeah, more experience, better caliber of opponents, better wins from Ricardo Ramos. So yeah, we're gonna go with Ricardo Ramos. I'm liking a finish, even though it's featherweight. I'm liking a finish. No, Ricardo Ramos by decision. I don't think we're going to get a finish. I'm thinking about it. I don't think we're going to. I think it's going to be a back and forth affair where Ricardo Ramos gradually takes over each round. So yeah, we're going to go Ricardo Ramos by decision. Next up, Jonathan Deniz versus Mario Pinto. Potentially a decent fight. This is going to be a fight to see who can knock who out first, basically. I don't think this one goes the distance. I think one guy will get tired enough before it goes the distance and just fall asleep. It's a tough one though. Both guys heavy hands. Both guys can put hands on chins. Jonathan Deniz does have a loss, doctor's stoppage against Marcin Tybura. TKO though. Mario Pinto 10-0. It's a tough one. It is. I kind of want to go with Jonathan Deniz, and I know his record is now blemished, but I do feel like a loss is good. Yeah, he lost, but he wasn't like knocked out cold. He was cut, and I'm fairly sure it was a bad cut, and the fight was stopped over that, if I do remember right. I think. So yeah, so it's not like he got knocked out. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Jonathan Deniz. Maybe not as durable. Maybe I'm making a bad move. Then maybe gets cut again, and the fight gets stopped over a cut again. But no, I'm liking Deniz, and I feel like there might be decent odds on him as well. If we're talking, no, it's not going to show me. I feel like there's decent money on Jonathan Deniz anyway. If you potential cash dollar to be made there. I feel like everyone sees the 10-0 from Pinto and just like yeah, so that guy's going to knock him out. But no, Jonathan Deniz is quite tricky with the stand up as well. He likes to fade back and catch you committing. And I kind of like that because Pinto is a guy who will go forward and will commit. So yeah, we're going to go with Jonathan Deniz by knockout over Mario Pinto, which is a bold move by me, but we're going for it anyway. Vicente Luque versus Joel Alvarez. I want to go with. So I want to go with Vicente Luque, but I just can't do it again. I'm going with Joel Alvarez. Vicente Luque, he's too wishy-washy these days. You know, at first I thought, oh, you know, he doesn't want to get hurt again. He's terrified to get injured again. Um, yeah, I think he was scared to get injured. That's what I thought. I thought he was scared to get injured. I thought there was some trauma there. You know, he didn't want to die, which is reasonable. Not besmirching his name, but just reasonable. And I do feel like he kind of became a bit more passive in his fighting style because of that. And then when I said all that, he won his fight, and I was like, oh, okay. You know, and he wasn't too scared to get hit, and he was committing, but he was being smarter about it as well. And then he lost again after I decided, you know what, this guy's doing well. So you know, I mean, if we're going off his records pattern, it's win loss win loss win loss, right? So right now it should be a win for Vicente Luque, but I just think Joel Alvarez is going to break that pattern. So yeah, I want to go with Joel Alvarez. I'm liking a TKO. I'm not going to lie, I'm liking the TKO from Joel Alvarez. Some ground and pound finish, and Vicente Luque just kind of wilts underneath it. So yeah, I'm going to go with Joel Alvarez by TKO. Next up, we've got Davidson Figueiredo versus Montel Jackson. I want to go with Figgy. I really do, but I don't know, man. He's been looking a bit sloppy recently. He's not the same dude. I'm going to go with Montel Jackson I think it's going to go to a decision. I don't think Figgy's going to get finished. Even though Montel is the kind of guy that could finish Figgy, I think it is going to go the distance. I think it's going to go to a decision. And I think Montel Jackson likely wins that decision. Yeah, Montel Jackson by decision, but it should be an entertaining fight, a decent back and forth, good scrambles too, I'm assuming, on the ground. And finally, the big one, the best one. Charles Oliveira versus Mateus Gamrot. A decent matchup, Mateus Gamrot, in my opinion, dark horse of lightweight. Really is the dark horse of lightweight. Has potential to be champion. As much potential to be champion as anybody inside of the top 10. But I feel like nobody kind of... You don't hear his name, you know? You don't hear his name as much. You don't hear him talked about as much. And it's because he's a little bit boring, but he's consistent. He's consistently winning fights. He's consistently putting on decent performances. Decent, not entertaining, but decent. So I feel like he's a bit of a dark horse at lightweight right now, and I feel like if he can get a winner with Charles Oliveira, we're going to hear people talking about Mateus Gamrot a lot more. Charles Oliveira coming back before Ilya, right? I don't like it. I don't like it for Charles Oliveira. I don't like it for him. I think it's a bad matchup for him, especially coming off the loss. I'm gonna go with Mateus Gamrot. I'm gonna go with Mateus Gamrot by decision. I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be pretty boring. If I'm being honest with you, I think it's gonna be boring. But that's not to take away from Gamrot. I think Gamrot's just gonna do what he needs to win, which is probably gonna be boring to watch. But Mateus Gamrot's probably gonna do what he needs to do to win, and Oliveira's probably gonna try and give it a show. Give us a show. But yeah, end of the day, I'm thinking Mateus Gamrot probably wins this one by a decision. So I'm going to go with Mateus Gamrot by a decision. As much as I like Oliveira, I feel like I'm picking against him quite a lot these days. I think it's a bad move coming back so soon as well after such a catastrophic loss. But yeah, Mateus Gamrot by decision. And if you enjoyed this video, consider leaving me a like, subscribe. Remember, only you can fix this green screen, you know? Only you can fix it. But until next time, keep your chin down and keep swinging. Peace and love. I'll see you around.